Hey, good night to everybody. Welcome to another episode here once again of the All Over It podcast. We'll be uncovering it all. You know it. Yeah, good stuff. Welcome to another one. Yeah. Everything looking good, sounding good. You know, we there with it. Yeah, welcome. Everybody want to be in things. So, yeah, on this September 15th, 2025, we here with another episode of the All Over It podcast, episode 20. Episode 20. Yeah. And today we're talking about asset protection. Protecting your assets, securing what you've built. So yeah, all these couple of episodes we talk about how to build your wealth, financial literacy, different ways to make money. Yeah. Now that you make it, now that you build your assets, now you gotta secure it, lock it in, lock and key. Yeah. Big up yourself one time, Oliver Williams Senior in the chat. Yeah. Welcome to everybody. And as usual, I have a good one here for you. But before I get into things, I just want to start by saying thank you. I want to say thank you. Tonight is a special one. Episode 20. 2 times 10. Yeah. Episode 20 of the All Over It podcast. I just want to thank everybody. I want to take this moment to thank every single one of you who has been with me from the start. This journey has been about growth, learning, and uncovering it all together. So the best part is we only getting started. So yeah, blessings. And thank you for staying locked in. You won't see, oh God. Big people in the place. Why? Oracle. Yeah. Big up. Lizzie Smith. Anyway, big up one time in the chat, in the comments. Blessings. Appreciate it. Thanks. Big up Ray one time in the chat. Thanks for joining once again. Thank you. Yeah. We keeping things going. And don't worry. I know you're still checking like, why this buying into this TikTok thing yet? But don't worry. Everything falling into place. Trust and believe. Yeah. But yeah, just have to say, as usual, thank you and welcome. Welcome to another one. As usual, my short announcements are we growing. As you can see, episode 20. Getting new subscribers, getting new viewers. Yeah. So I want to thank each and every one of you who telling people about it, who watching it, who see the value in the things that I share in here today. So if anything I talk about is something that you like, or somebody that this would resonate with, that this would be good information for, like the content, share it, subscribe if you haven't. Okay, letting everybody know I trying to get my YouTube to 1,000 subscribers. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Good things alone. This Oliver only talking sense alone. I only come with good things for you. Yeah, straight up. But yeah, I know. I know you're always there. That's why I feel the love and the support, and I appreciate all of it. Trust and believe, you know. So, and yeah, don't worry. Interviews and thing online now, they available. We got them thing active. I had an interview about 3 episodes ago, self, and it was very positive. So yeah, for sure we could arrange, coming on and having a constructive debate for sure. You know that's me. I always love a good debate. I actually got one line up too. I gotta talk to that person about that one. Why you say? I had a conversation with somebody about having a debate about cash versus card. So in this day and age, most people they like card. They rather do everything with card. They don't want to have no cash and thing. But I say I want to have a debate to see, you know, bring the 2 points, two sides. We debate it out constructively, but also, of course, everybody in the chat could give their feedback and their opinion on what they feel, whether they like either or. So if that's something that you're gonna like, let me know. Leave a little comment like, yeah, I'll about do that one. I want to hear that self. I want to hear what you talk about. Yeah. So control versus freedom. Woo, better. Yo, yeah. So I don't see that gonna be a good one. One person put a check for that one. But yeah, though, as you can see, the only way I could know you there is if you leave a comment. I could see people watching me, but I don't know who is who. So if you want me to shout you out, leave a little comment. I'll go and big you up for show. But yeah, we elevating. Like I said, interviews available, interviews online, interviews coming, good things coming. So yeah, but like I say, today we are on another installment of the financial literacy series, which we coming down kind of to a close, reaching to the close of the series, which is positive. So we're gonna do a little recap there today too. But before I get into all of that, I want to do a short motivational message. Today, my motivational message is going to be about change, the winds of change. Firstly, I have to say, don't be afraid of change. Change is inevitable, meaning you can't run away from it, you can't hide from it. No matter what you do, it's going to come. It's inevitable. No matter what, it's going sometime in your life. There is going to be some type of change that comes. Yesterday in my Toastmasters meeting, well, in the club's Toastmasters meeting, the topic was change, winds of change, and the different speakers, everything literally came together and was connected because the first speaker had a speech entitled Be the Spark, So be the spark, be that change instead of waiting and hoping that a change comes. You be that spark, as the speaker, Alicia Peterson, said, in a world full of noise, be the spark. And I agree. And to move forward, to grow, you have to step out of your comfort zone. So in order to change, in order to grow, like I always say, from a seed, grow into a seedling, grow into a plant. You can't stay a seedling, you can't stay a seed. You have to grow, you have to go through the stages, So in order to grow, you have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to do something that you're not accustomed to doing. And when you grow, you have to be open to that change. You have to be open to new things, open to learning new things, to seeing new things, doing new things, but just open. Like I had an episode a few episodes ago where I spoke about mindset, and I spoke about having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And all of that is connected, all of that is related, because when you have a growth mindset, you're open to new things, you're open to growing, you're open to elevating your knowledge, to gaining new insights on things, and you're not just closed. Like some people say, when you have a growth mindset, instead of looking at things like, oh, I can't do that, you start thinking on, how can I do that? You shift your mentality. Is the same thing you're looking at now. But instead of looking at it like so, you turn it around, It's like two sides to the same coin, like they say. What you want, heads or tails, So remember, change is inevitable. No matter what you do, it will come. So is what you going to do with it? You have to be ready for it. You have to be, like I say, open to it. And when it comes, remember that it's just to help you grow. And when you reach on the other side, when you reach to that luscious garden that you belong in, you're going to look back and say, yeah, I work hard for this. So remember, change is always inevitable. So I just wanted to leave you with that message. So don't be afraid of change. Remember, the winds of change always blow. But it's what you're going to do with it. Whether you're going to leave it just sway you in the wind any kind of how, like a leaf just blowing, or if you're going to stand firm and leave it guide you like a boat on the ocean sailing. So yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Change is inevitable. And remember, the winds of change will blow. What are you going to do when it does? And that's my motivational message for the day. You see, change will come with or without permission, but rapid, unexplained change creates confusion if not introduced with average patience and understanding. I agree with that. You have to know how to handle it. You have to be ready for it. And things unexpected, haphazard could throw you out of whack. Like people are saying, like a chicken without a head fluttering. But yeah, you have to be ready. Like a friend of mine that say, never prepared, but always ready. I just try to be prepared as planned and try to be ready and prepared. But yeah, you have to be ready for anything in life. You might have things all planned out, but something might come and just knock you across here. Like, yo, remember, expect the unexpected. But yeah, I love that. I love that message there. I love that comment that was shared. Matter of fact, let me bring it up, show it. See, Lizzie Smith said, change will come with or without permission, but rapid, unexpected change creates confusion if not introduced with average patience and understanding. Yeah. To bring that up, show you see it for yourself. But yeah, like I say, today, we got a good one. We got a good one. Today, I can dive right into things. I'm going to firstly do a recap. So a quick recap of the financial literacy series. So in episode 13, I had this presentation I shared And I went over these topics: personal story, mindset shift, different financial investment avenues, insurances, business record keeping, all of that good stuff. And what I'm going to do today, I can just do a short, quick recap of the different topics, episodes, and then we're going to dive into the asset protection today. Being able to choose is different from being forced and then suddenly living another person's narrative. Yeah, that's very true. Unfortunately, some of us does be forced into certain situations, and like things are forced down our throat, and tough situations sometimes, unfortunately. Even in those times, we still gotta be strong and be have a conquering spirit. Try to overcome. Sometimes it might be a 1-2 thing, it might take a little time, but God in the midst of all things, and He never does forsake us. So once we remember that, keep the faith and keep fighting, keep pushing. Remember, God is always with us. God's plan will always prevail. But we have to do our part as well. But yeah. Anyways, so quick recap. Let me do it like this. So this is the All Over It podcast, a list of all the episodes. So if you actually go to my YouTube page, you could find all of the episodes. My YouTube page is Oliver N.J.R. Williams. And you could actually find these episodes on my page on YouTube. Literally just type in Oliver N.J.R. Williams or Oliver Williams SXM or All Over It podcast. Either of these things can bring up these episodes or some video from me that you could get to. So whether you on your phone watching it, or if you watching it on your TV and you on Facebook, it's a little different. Facebook too, unfortunately, they decided they does remove videos after a certain amount of time. So not all episodes are available on Facebook. So that's why I mostly just recommend people to go to YouTube. It's not a bias, but yeah, just everything available there. So anyways, whether you're on your phone, on your computer, on your TV, you could find my page, Oliver Williams. You can't just type in Oliver Williams. I'll tell you that. I've checked. You gotta check search engine optimization. Yeah, SEO. Basically, you can't find me under Oliver Williams because other Oliver Williams is in the world. So that's why I recommend Oliver Williams SXM or Oliver N.J.R. Williams, or you could just type in All Over It podcast and you got me straight. And you'll come up on my page, see Oliver N. Junior Williams business channel, like and subscribe. You don't know. And if you go to podcasts, you'll see right here All Over It podcast, view full podcast list, and it'll bring you here to this lovely page here with all of everything where you could see me live right now. So going back to episode 13 was the first episode of the financial literacy series. Episode 13, financial literacy, the real flex. That was the first episode where I gave a full breakdown. So I broke down all of the topics found in this PowerPoint. So I went over this PowerPoint, all of the topics. I showed different like links and different information, research I did on all of these different topics. So yeah, started with introduction, then went to my personal story, where I started, where I am now, and my plans for the future. Then I started with a mindset shift, and I went to the financial investment avenues, talked about insurances, spoke about business, and then record keeping, and then I closed off. So that was episode 13, where this was the agenda: intro, personal story, mindset shift, financial investment avenues, insurances, business, record keeping, and conclusion. Great. Thereafter, matter of fact, let me do it like this. Bam, 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 bam. Woo. Just like that. See everything one time. So thereafter, I went on to mindset shifts. You know what it means. So like I mentioned earlier in this episode, I did an episode which was this one, episode 14. Change your mind, change your money. See? I spoke about mindset shift because a lot of people have a fixed mindset. They're checking like, man, I learned this. I know up to this level. I don't need to learn no more. Or I know about this specific field I in. I don't need to learn nothing else outside of that. Like some people just ain't open to new things or trying new things or just not open to suggestions, period. You know? And in order to grow your finances, in order to grow yourself, personal growth, you need a growth mindset, plain and simple. You know? So for personal growth, you gotta be thinking about growth, period. You know, so yeah, episode 14, change your mind, change your money, I find is a great episode. And my mindset with this approach was a lot of us, in the world, whatever race we are, wherever we live in, whether in the Caribbean, whether in the United States, Europe, Asia, wherever, a lot of us don't really have the best financial habits or knowledge of managing finances or increasing our assets or financial wealth or value. You know? And that's why I did this series, and that's why I did it in this way. I started with an intro, what it is, to get people to understand what financial literacy really means. Then I went into, like I say, my story, what got me into it. Then I moved on to the mindset, because you got to start with the mind. Everything starts inside. Like I say, whether you want to do a new project, whether you want to start a business, whether you want to build a house, whatever it is, it starts with an idea. It starts in here. You know, so mindset is powerful. A mindset shift is a necessary thing if you want to change your situation. You know, like we just talked about change. Change is inevitable. A mindset shift. You got to change your mind if you in a mentality like, yeah, okay, this is how it is. Nothing can change, nothing can do better, you know, always me type of mentality. Nah, we don't live that type of life. We don't live no defeated, oh yeah, everything is against me type of mentality. We live a conquering, overcome adversity type of thoughts. That's how we just think. Yeah, me against the wall, overcoming it. Yeah, only God can judge me. Yeah, type of vibes. Straight up. So, yeah. As he said, but why feed water to a fish when the fish is a dirty tank in someone's home that don't care about the fish? Well, good point. And at the end of the day, God, like I always say, that in the midst of all things, and whoever the message have to go to, they're going to receive it, you know. So I have faith that the person who need the water is going to get it. But I a believer that I rather teach you how to fish than give you a fish, you know. So me doing this is me showing you the way, showing everybody, okay, look, if you really serious, that's the key thing. You gotta be serious. You gotta be serious about bettering yourself, bettering your situation. If not, then yeah, it's just falling on deaf ears. But once you're serious, by showing you a way, a roadmap, if you will, on how you could better your situation, how you could elevate yourself, add value to yourself, build assets, which in turn is going to make you a better person financially. You'll feel better emotionally, physically, you'll do better. I would hope. Yeah, take care of yourself, keep maintaining all the things. But yeah, anyways, to complete my recap, like I say, I did a mindset shift episode, which was episode 14. Then after that, I moved on to the actual financial investment avenues, which the first I spoke about was real estate. Real estate. So episode 15, I did real estate, building wealth through real estate, episode 15. Then I moved on to investing in startups or established businesses. So all over it. Episode 16 was unlocking business success, where I spoke about both sides of that coin, startups or established businesses. And keep in mind, these episodes ain't just me going on there talking. I literally showing you, like for instance, the real estate, I pulling up like websites, real estate agent websites, showing you things that are available. The business, I showing you information about starting up your business, but also I literally pull up like a website, Biz Buy Sell, whereas you could see businesses that are currently for sale, you could purchase. And yeah, it's you now to make your investments. You know, so I like I said, providing a roadmap is just now for you to decide what you want to do, what you want to do with it. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, moving on. On the list, the next one is investing in stocks, but I did that afterwards. I did episode 17, which was about dividends, talking dividends, which was the first interview I had here on the All Over It podcast, where I interviewed Josiah Williams, and he gave his insights about investing in dividend paying ETFs and stocks strictly. So he shared how he's living off of dividends, traveling off of dividends, receiving monthly payments from dividends, where he just invested over time, piece by piece, not no big lump sums. He put a little bit, like a drop in the bucket. Even me now, I just collect the AC water to use in my garden. And you'll be surprised. People might think like, yeah, that's just one drip, one drip, one drip. But if you really was to put a bucket or some type of container under that, wait a day, 2 days, 3 days, and see how much water you really collect, you'll be amazed. So every little bit counts. You might watch it like, man, that's just a drip. Or even I spoke about time. We consider, oh yeah, seconds, minutes. We don't really take those as so important. But trust and believe, everything adds up and compounds over time. So God bless. God bless. God bless. So yeah, like I said, episode 17, we spoke about dividends. Then episode 18, we spoke about mastering the market, stocks and trading explained. So I did episode 18 about investing in stocks, whether buying whole and trading, both of them in one. Then last week, we spoke about gold and other commodities, but mainly gold. The king, investing in gold, the king of commodities. I shared a little history about gold, what is gold, how you could get into gold, whether in stocks or ETFs, or if you actually want real gold coins or bullions or bars, you could order them things. Yeah. Hey, no problem, no problem. I totally understand. It's late there. I appreciate you for joining. Like you said, sorry, let me go over a little bit of these comments while I'm there. I'll say that you are doing your best to bring about a change on an island that will now allow open opportunities for youths, motivation in reality instead of a imaginary future. Yeah, you see. Yeah, I really working and doing my part to help bring that change and show people that there are opportunities available to us. But yeah, thanks Lizzie for joining the Oracle. Yeah, that's a big dog there now. Big dog in the chat. But yeah, though, appreciate you for joining. Love alone. Appreciate the support. And yeah, so like I say, we did a good, nice little recap. Last week we talked about gold and that's the financial investments. So now, being as we went over all of these investment opportunities or ways that you could get into investment, we also got to talk about asset protection, protecting these assets. So yeah, life insurance. I have an episode coming about that. And let the cat out of the bag. Actually arranging and organizing an interview with somebody who works in a life insurance entity. Check. Yeah. Big things popping. So yeah. Like I say, if you want to find these episodes, you know where to find it on my channel, Alva N. Junior Williams on YouTube. Could also find it on Facebook, but as in the meantime, until Facebook decide, yeah, I don't want your things on my thing no more, I'm deleting it. But I know Facebook been working a little better with me now. I gotta give them the props. Gotta give them the props, So yeah. Today we're gonna talk about asset protection, but then next week, fingers crossed, I plan hopefully I could get it to be the episode on life insurance. But thereafter, I'll do an episode on record keeping and the importance of record keeping. Maybe I should bring my father on for this one because he a good record keeper. But anyways, yeah, I'll talk about that. And then that'll be the end of the financial literacy series. And then we're going to get back to reality, back to life, back to reality. Good night, my mother. Blessings. Mary Williams in the chat. Yeah. Big up yourself one time. So, yeah, just showing you what going on, what we doing, what we did, and where we going. So like I say, we've been through all the financial investment avenues. Today, we're going to talk about protection, and then insurance. Actually, insurance is part of the protection. So everything is strategy to everything I do now. Just understand that. So, like I tell you, I do it in order. Start with the introduction, what is financial literacy. Then I go to my story. Do you know about me? Why should I be telling you about this? What all I want to know about financial literacy? So give you my personal story about it. Then move on to the mind. Everything starts in here. Once you get your mind right, you can get your money right, you can get everything right. So yeah. And then after that, I give you all the different opportunities at your fingertips, at your disposal. I tell you, literally, if you go back in these episodes, you could find businesses to buy, you could find real estate to buy, you could, gold if you want to buy it, you find that. Check these episodes all over it. Podcast Financial Literacy Series from episode 13. Come up straight. Don't worry, what I'm going to do too on YouTube, I'm going to make it its own playlist. Yeah, so I have the All Over It podcast playlist with all the episodes, but then I have a separate playlist for the financial literacy series specifically. Yeah, so you can find it easy, straight. Anytime you want to get that information or that knowledge, you can go back and find it easy. Look how easy I'm making your life. Say thank you, all about. But I thank you. I appreciate you for being here. Love alone. So yeah, that was our recap. And today we're going to be talking about protecting your assets. Hear it? Protecting your assets. Yeah, get it right. Securing what you built, So here we have a page on sudden wealth protection law, which, like it says, sometimes some people are coming to sudden wealth, whether maybe you win the lotto or unfortunately somebody in your family passed and you get some inheritance, something, somehow, some way, something come today to tomorrow, you're wealthy. You gotta know how to protect it. Or if you, somebody like me, who have put in that work to build what he have, to build my investment portfolio, trust and believe, you're gonna want to protect it. You check. I feel like it goes without saying. Why to put your money in the bank or in a safe? Because some people don't trust the bank, But yeah, you safeguard your assets. You safeguard the things that you work hard to build, the things that you put together, whether your house, if a storm coming, you put some type of protection, whether it's shutters, whether it's something to protect, is safeguard your assets always. If you really think about it, we are always looking at some way how we could secure the things that we work hard to build, whether it's you work hard at your job and you get your salary, you're checking like why could do to safeguard my salary. Okay, like I say, now the bank is technically the most safest place to put it. You know, same thing. Like I say, you build a house, you build a business. You don't want somebody come sue you and then take everything and then now the business bankrupt. You can't do nothing. Yeah. So safeguard, protection. Let me get into it. Protecting your assets, a step-by-step guide. So, like I say, this is an article from Sudden Wealth Protection Line. Like I always say every week, all the links, all the articles, all the information I share, I will leave it or you can find it in the description section of each episode on YouTube. So if anything that you see here interests you today, you could go back to this episode in the description section. So that section that say, yeah, today, blah, 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 I give you the whole rundown of what the episode about. If you go a little further, you can see links to what has been shared today. You can find everything that I talk about. Trust. And yeah, find all these links. So today I'm gonna be going over this and a few others. A few of them similar, not the same, but similar. So it also have this next article from Investopia. Anybody who's my recurring viewers know I like Investopia. But yeah, they have this article, How to Protect Your Assets from Lawsuits or Creditors. Not the only things, but yeah. And they have this article, Asset Protection, the basics of asset protection, what you need to know. Understanding asset protection, shielding your financial future. So yeah. And then they have this good one from Nerd Wallet, Asset Protection, how it works and strategies. So these four similar, not the same. Trust me, not the same. I recommend you could read all four of them, and you will find differences in them. But yes, they do have similarities. But we're gonna start with this first one from Sudden Wealth Protection.com. So, matter of fact, let me go back to this one, read this definition, and then I'll go back to the one that was on. So, what is asset protection? Asset protection involves adopting strategies to guard your wealth from taxation, seizure, or loss. It's a critical component of financial planning that's designed to legally shield you and your assets from creditors' claims. Here's a quick rundown. It defines strategies to guard your wealth. It involves legal methods like trust and LLCs and different type of accounts and different things like that. And the target is high-risk professionals and persons with high-value assets. So this basically just saying asset protection involves adapting strategies, meaning doing things or putting plans or things in place so that you could safeguard your wealth, safeguard whether your money that you work for or your real estate property, whether you got apartments that you got tenants in, or like I say, if you got business, you want to safeguard it from taxation, people seizing your assets. So maybe you owe somebody and they say, I'm going to take this machine that you got here because you won't pay me and I could find value for that. Or maybe loss, let me say here in Maarten or in this region, hurricane and natural disasters is a very big problem, So you got to safeguard yourself, safeguard the things that you work hard to build. In today's unpredictable world, preserving your hard-earned wealth is more important than ever. Asset protection ensures that your assets, whether personal or business related, are safe from unexpected creditor claims or lawsuits, from establishing trusts to leveraging insurance policies and creating LLCs, limited liability companies. Various strategies can help you legally insulate your wealth. Great. So, yeah, like you said there, it could be creditor claims, could be a lawsuit. You can see later on, it could even be divorce. Yeah. But if you establish trusts, leverage insurance policies, or create LLCs, which is a type of business structure, you could safeguard your wealth. Yeah, bottom line, from taxation, all kind of different things. So let me go back to this first one that we was on. Yeah, protecting your assets, a step-by-step guide. I ain't gonna go through everything, but they have some good information I do want to really touch on in this. So, how to protect your assets? This is a crucial question for anyone looking to safeguard their financial future. With the right strategies, you can shield your wealth from unforeseen circumstances like lawsuit, creditors, or even divorce. Yeah, because let's be honest, anybody out there who's been married and divorced already, divorce is a rough thing. What is it? They'll take half. Let's be honest, more than half most times. You gotta give half for your assets and then still pay for the lawyer. And that doesn't mean a little penny. That's that's a big deal there. So quick tips for protecting your assets are diversifying your asset holding. So meaning not having not only having one asset or one type of asset. So let me say maybe you somebody who into real estate, don't only just have one property. If you decide, okay, you only want to do real estate, at least have multiple properties, different places, or maybe like, try to diversify. Maybe I have real estate somewhere else, or I always recommend having like shares or stocks, whether you buy and hold, you have some type of portfolio as a backup as well. But yeah, diversify. Don't just have all your eggs in one basket. Like, the elders used to tell us, don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is another reason, because what? If your basket fall down, all the eggs break. At least if you have more than one basket, and that one basket fall, one or two eggs break, you still got another basket over here. Yeah. Anyways, establish trust for long-term protection. So this is something I'm going to touch on a little later on in the episode. I touch on what a trust is, setting it up even here in St. Maarten. So yeah, get adequate insurance coverage. So yeah, insurance policies could be a way to safeguard you. So like I say, even a good example here in St. Maarten was Irma. After Irma, there was significant damage. A lot of places, a lot of properties was damaged, and certain people, because they had insurance policies, was able to get like payout, and that was able to cover the cost of, let me say, repairs or whatever. Still, as it says, get adequate insurance coverage, meaning you want to have enough. Adequate meaning you want enough. So let me say maybe you have an insurance policy that going to give you 100,000, but your repairs maybe is 150. Of course, that's something that's unforeseen, but just like something to keep in mind, like, okay, well, if I know my property is worth, let me say, 200,000, I should try and get maybe at least that amount of coverage, or at least close to it, so if anything happened, you could basically rebuild the place, if anything, so I always good to get appraisal, which is like a value of your property, and then yeah, you could get insurance, or even in under get adequate insurance coverage would be life insurance. Life insurance falls under that too, because life insurance can be a great way to protect you in both death and life. So I actually had a episode where I spoke a little bit about different type of life insurances, but in the upcoming episode, of course, I will dive more deeper into that, because most people have uh understanding that when you hear life insurance is only when you die, but they have different type policies now, whereas you could get benefits, or you could get value out of it even when you're alive. So for instance, good example, when I was in the US, I had a policy that I had living benefits, death benefits, and a cash value. So like a cash compounding, let me say, portfolio, that every month a portion goes into that, and it compounds and grows over time. But apart from that, of course, you have your debt benefits, whether it's 500,000, whether it's 100,000, a million, whatever it is. And then you have living benefits too. So let me say, God forbid, you get in an accident, or something happen, some situation happen, even if, let me say certain people use life insurance as like a bank. So like how you would decide, okay, I want to buy a real estate property, maybe you're looking into a property and you checking you need funds to get it. Certain people, you have your cash value. Most times they like build up the cash value, but they have living benefits too, and they have ways that you could use your life insurance as leverage. So in the sense of like how you use like collateral, or when you go to the bank, you have to put up some type of collateral. You could use your life insurance as like that, you know. So just showing you, like, we have a lot of options in this world, is knowing what's available to you and taking what's the best option for you, So yeah, like this next one say, consider asset protection trust, use retirement accounts wisely. So this one is a good one too, retirement accounts and IRAs and all those things. Like in the episode about dividends, my uncle Josiah Williams spoke quite a bit about tax deferred and tax safe or tax exempt accounts, especially where retirement is concerned. And yeah, like I say, asset protection is also including securing you from heavy taxation. So I sure my family would understand heavy taxation, and trying to find ways to see how you could better the situation, period. You check. So bottom line, these are the type of things that will safeguard you, because yeah, it's rough out here now. It ain't easy. Like soon as you start making a little money, people checking like, wow, okay, you're making some money, tax man on your back. Other people checking, wow, okay, the scammers, they got all kind of thing out here trying to, chip your funds. Yeah, straight up. So it's what you going to do. What you going to do to safeguard yourself, So Yeah, everybody telling you in today's unpredictable world, understanding and implementing effective asset protection strategies is a vital part of financial planning. It's about more than just safeguarding your wealth, it's about ensuring peace of mind and a secure future for your family, you know? So, yeah, like it say, it's about ensuring a peace of mind. You don't want that when you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, people calling you, checking you owe them money, or tax man sending you letters telling you you owe them 40 something thousand and all type of nonsense. Nah. Then the time you want to relax, peace of mind. You want to relax, enjoy the time with your family and whether go traveling or go visit and spend time with your grandchildren and all these type things. Yeah, you don't want nobody harassing you about, yeah, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. No. So this is why you safeguard things. Or even if you reach to that age and you checking like, what? People harassing me, man. I gotta see how I could safeguard my things. You still can. You still can. Okay, a good example. I don't watch Myron Golden. I talk about him a lot on this podcast too. And on different occasions and different episodes I watch from him or different videos, and he talk about even him, learning, even though he, let me say, have millions now, he learning and he have different people he does surround himself with that, let me say, maybe they on a higher level than him. Maybe he making 10 million, they making 100, 200, 500 million, going on a billion type vibe. And you know, no matter what level you on, you could always learn growth mindset. And Maarten, man, I share this because he had an episode where he talked, a video where he talked about how IRS sent him, a letter saying he owes some amount of 100,000 and blah, 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 blah. And he went, he talked to one of his friends, let me say like an elder, somebody who have the knowledge, wisdom, and they share some insights with him. And okay, if anything, why don't do this, do that, do that. And by implementing that strategy, by putting that plan in place, he was able to not have to pay that money and actually get back money. Good. Good. So I just say that to say, like, I know people that going through situations with tax. Like, let me say like this. Here in St. Martin, a lot of people have battles with this tax system. Let me say like that, and these are things we need. We need to start safeguarding our assets and wealth. And once you put these things in place, you could even, let me say, squash all these back things that they're telling you. Oh man, you just gotta know how to move. Just say like that. Like I say, winds of change. Think of it like you are a sailor on the water in your sailboat, and you gotta know how to turn your sail so that when wind blow and want to go. Okay. Anyways, moving on in this same article. So, how to protect your assets, understanding asset protection. Asset protection is all about keeping your hard-earned money and property safe from creditors and lawsuits. Think of it as financial shield that helps you sleep better at night, knowing your assets are secure, like locking your door. That's why for the thumbnail, for the flyer of this episode is a lock with different financial things around it. Yeah, Because you locking that up. Nobody can get into it. Yeah, look, don't worry. We'll talk about it. Laws and creditor action. The first step is understanding asset protection is knowing the laws that can help you. So you don't really got to know all of that. They got lawyers for that. So yeah. Anyways, they say, for instance, did you know that certain retirement accounts are protected from creditors under federal law? This means that even if you face bankruptcy, your 401k might still be safe. And just know, these things aren't just for the US. They have like similar, or they have interchangeable in other areas of the world, including St. Martin the River. But so financial security is the ultimate goal. Yeah, by planning ahead, you can ensure that your wealth is preserved for you and your family. No matter what legal challenges come your way, this involves creating legal barriers like trusts and insurances to keep your assets out of reach from creditors. Imagine being wrongly accused in a lawsuit. Without proper asset protection, you could lose everything. Keep in mind, wrongly accused. But with the right strategies, your assets remain untouchable, providing you peace of mind. Check. So, example, imagine you wrongfully accused, whether you're in the US, wherever you be, here in St. Martin, you wrongfully accused of something. They hold you, say you do this, and freeze your assets, do this, do that, that. With asset protection, you wouldn't lose everything. Everything that you already protected will be retained no matter what. Check. So, no matter what you go through, your assets are protected, giving you peace of mind. So proactive steps. So think on this like a checklist. So if you're out there listening and this is what you like, pull out your paper, start take notes. To start protecting your assets, consider these proactive steps. Establish trusts. Use insurance wisely. Consider retirement accounts, and understand the state laws. That one there ain't really so much of importance for us here, but we can still touch on it a little bit. So number one, establish a trust. Trusts can be powerful tools to keep your assets safe. By transferring ownership or of your assets to a trust, you create a layer of protection against creditors. Good. Number two, use insurance wisely. Insurance is your first line of defense. It can cover many liabilities, but remember it has limits. Always check what your policy covers. So a good example, maybe you might have insurance for your house or property insurance, and maybe okay, you covered for natural disasters. So if a hurricane comes, you got coverage, but maybe you're not covered for a fire, or maybe you're not covered for a flood. You gotta consider what you're covered for, because maybe, God forbid, where you is maybe prone to flooding, and then you get flood, and then now you lose out. Good. Retirement accounts. Make the most of retirement accounts. They often come with built-in protection against creditors, especially in bankruptcy situations. Understand state laws. Each state has different asset protection laws. Knowing these can help you make informed decisions about where your assets are. Good. So I want to move on to the trust, talk about the trust a little bit. An asset protection trust, APT, is a powerful tool to shield your wealth from creditors. Yeah, they talk about what states they're available in, but yeah, these are types of irrevocable trusts, meaning once you place assets in them, you cannot easily take them back. This permanence is what makes them effective against creditors or claims. To set up an APT, you must make it irrevocable, appoint a trustee located where it's established, and ensure that the trust has a spendthrift clause. So basically, it's the spendthrift clause, just saying that the trust is who own the assets and not necessarily the person who started the trust, because then, God forbid, if you pass, then the beneficiaries is who going to access it, and then they're going to probably just deplete it. So, you got to put all of these as safeguards. So, for instance, you see a lot of cases whereas maybe wealthy families, the head of the family passed away, and then the kids, they don't know how to manage it. So then all everything goes, everything just goes to zero. Is because now if you have your trust, or if you have your asset protection set up still flow. A good example is the Rockefellers. The Rockefellers set up the trust and the financial safeguards so well that for hundreds of years, generation after generation, maybe 7 generations later, they still protected. They still have the wealth. The wealth is still protected from since when. And that's a beautiful story, but it shows the possibilities. And on another side of that same coin, let's be honest, most times when people talk about generational wealth and they build wealth and they leave it for the family, usually within maybe 3 generations, that wealth is gone. So let me say you work hard, you build up your family name to some big, great name, or you what maybe billions, and then you pass, it goes on to the next generation. Maybe the next generation have a little understanding of managing, so they keep and retain some type of level of it. But then the next generation come in, have no understanding of the value of money or the value of these assets, and they just squander everything, and now boom, everything gone. That'll happen a lot of time, and you don't want that to happen. You want that you work hard for your things, you leave it for your kids, your children, like the Bible say, leave an inheritance for your children and your children. You want that when you do that, it's protected. You want that when you do that, that they itself protected from it. They protected from themselves. Let me put it like that. That's the right way to put it. So that's where irrevocable trust come in. And yeah, see, so look, killing come in. That's where you have to have stipulations in the trust. So that's where these spendthrift clause, that's what really about. So you appoint a trustee, and all of that is part of the irrevocable part. Irrevocable means you can't change it, or let's not say you can't, but it's gonna be hard if you really like. Once it's set, it's set. And yeah, all of these things are ways to safeguard and protect your assets and your hard-earned money. So yeah, an irrevocable trust, like I said, is a trust you cannot change once it's set up. This might sound restrictive, but it's a key feature for asset protection. By placing your assets in such a trust, you effectively remove them from your ownership, making them less accessible to creditors. So that's why in business they have limited liability, and that's why they tell you it's better to have a limited liability company instead of a sole proprietor, because then with sole proprietor, everything is up for grabs, even your personal things. So let me say maybe you start your business, you buy some equipment, you have a property, But now, apart from that, you have your own house, you have your car, maybe your wife's car, whatever, whatever. As a sole proprietor, if anything have to happen, you face a lawsuit, everything is up for grabs. But now, as a business LLC, you safeguard a good portion of your assets, and you could even safeguard your business assets as well. But yeah, just to understand, like when it say you effectively remove them from your ownership, don't think it's like you're giving them to somebody else. Like, yeah, I don't want this no more, or like somebody can thief it from you. No, a lot of people, which I like, even me to an extent, had those type of mentalities or thoughts, or you know views towards like things like these, like why people can just take your things, but it's still yours. It's just instead of it being directly yours, is like you create like an umbrella. So think on, like, they just say shell companies and them thing, but it's like you create a shell to protect you. So like you create your own turtle shell for yourself. You your own teenage mutant ninja turtle now. Yeah. So yeah, irrevocable trust, pros and cons. Offers, the pro is it offers strong protection against lawsuit and creditors. Cons, you lose control over the assets, and it can be costly to set up. Yeah, because it's lawyers involved. You gotta make sure you know what you're doing. Paperwork is involved. Anyways, taking proactive steps is crucial to how to protect your assets. And yeah, like it says, basically these are the same steps: establish trust, use insurance wisely, and yeah, we have this extra step which says separate business from personal assets, which, yeah, I feel like that it's a great idea. Keep your business and personal finances distinct to protect personal assets from business liabilities. Yeah. Now, when it comes to protecting your assets, business entities can be a way to safeguard your wealth. So creating a business entity such as a LLC, limited liability corporation or company, or here in St. Martin, they are BV or NV, or a corporation, can be a smart move. These entities help separate your personal assets from business liabilities. This means if your business faces legal trouble, your personal wealth remains protected. For instance, if you own a rental property, forming an LLC can protect your home and savings from potential lawsuits related to the property. Personal insurance. Yeah, I ain't really talk about the insurance and the retirement accounts again. Well, I'll read part of the retirement account. Retirement accounts such as a 401k and IRAs are not just for saving for the future, they also offer protection from creditors. By contributing the maximum allowed, you can shield your money from most claims. It's worth noting that while 401ks have robust protection, IRAs offer limited protection, so it's wise to understand the specifics of your retirement account. Homestead exemptions. In many states, homestead exemptions protect a portion of your home equity from creditors. This means that in the event of bankruptcy or lawsuits, a certain amount of your home's value is off limit to creditors. The level of protection varies by state, so it's important to know your local laws. Yeah. And all these other good stuff, annuities and life insurance. Certain annuities and life insurance policies offer creditor protection. These financial products can be structured to provide a safe haven for your wealth. For example, life insurance policies often have cash value components that is protected from creditors depending on state laws. So like I talked about the cash value just now, look, they tell it to you here now. Asset transfer. Transferring assets to family members or trusts can be another effective strategy. However, it's crucial to do this wisely. Transferring assets to a spouse, children, or a trust can protect them from creditors, but it's important to ensure these transfers comply with legal requirements to avoid accusation of fraudulent conveyance. Also, you gotta make sure you're sending it or transferring it to somebody you could trust because, yeah, they themselves might take it in. Checking it in my name anyway. I've seen those situations. Yeah. So, yeah, this article have a lot of great information. Like I said, I will be leaving a link to the article in the description for sure. How to protect your assets from lawsuits or creditors. I ain't gonna really go into all of this one. As you can see, the table of content is say asset protection caps for IRAs. So like it was just talking about, they have like a maximum amount you could put into an IRA or a 401k type of qualified retirement plans, homestead. So they talk about the homestead exemptions just now, annuities and life insurance. Now I want to go to how to plan for asset protection. You can plan for asset protection in several ways. The key is to create as many obstacles as possible for creditors before they can legally claim rights to your property. Here are several ways to protect your assets. Asset protection trust, like just cover. Account receivable financing. If you own a business, you can borrow against its receivables and put the money into a non-business account. This would make the debt encumbered asset less attractive to your creditors and make otherwise accessible assets untouchable. So basically what it's saying is accounts receivable in business mean sometimes in business you just do it whereas you have people owing you. So maybe people ain't paying you right there in the moment, you're credited to them. So accounts receivable meaning these is monies that people owe you. Check. So what it's telling you is they have a way that you could borrow against it and then now put it in another account that's not from a business so that if in the case that a creditor come, they seeing less in your accounts receivable. So, they're checking like, okay, well, we ain't got much we could take from him type vibe. So strategies with everything. Stripped out equity. Another option for protecting your assets is to pull the equity out of them and put that cash into assets that your state protects. Suppose, for example, that you own an apartment building and are concerned about potential lawsuit. If you took out a loan against that building's equity, you could place the funds in a protected asset, such as an annuity, if annuities are sheltered from judgment in your state. So bottom line, you got apartment building, you're checking by somebody might try to bring a lawsuit against me. This is a way that you could protect yourself from losing everything. So you strip out the equity, meaning basically you put yourself in debt. That's basically what I do. That's telling you. So like it say, you take out a loan against the building's equity. So if the building is worth 250,000, you go take a loan for 250,000. So if anybody come and put a lawsuit against you, they can't just take the building because now it tie up in a loan. Check. Strategies. Family limited partnerships. Assets transferred into a family limited partnership are exchanged for shares in the partnership. Because the FLP owns the assets are protected from creditors under the UPA, so one of the US governmental acts, legal acts. However, you control the FLP, the Family Limited Partnership, and thus the assets. There is no market for the shares you receive, so their value is significantly less than the value of the asset exchange. Other asset protection strategies: transfer assets to your spouse's name. However, transferring assets to your spouse could have consequences if you divorce. Put more money in your employer sponsored retirement plan. So meaning if you're working and your employer have a retirement plan for you, put more money in there. So, that's like protecting more your money because they're protected. Buy an umbrella insurance policy that protects you from personal injury claims above that standard coverage offered by your home and auto policy. So basically saying like stack or add more insurance, or cover yourself for personal injury, or other things too, not just certain things. Make the most of your state's law regarding homesteads, annuities, and life insurance. So paying down your mortgage, for example, could protect cash. Makes sense. Don't mix business assets with personal assets. And I agree with that. That way, if your company runs into a problem, your personal assets may not be at risk. So yeah, another good article. Great, great, great stuff. But yeah, we're gonna move on to this article from OCL Law by Marty Burbank. So OCL Law have this article, The Basics of Asset Protection, What You Need to Know. But why I open it is because, as you can see, it says 10 powerful strategies in 2024. So what you need to know, and it give you 10 strategies. So it give you, of course, what is asset protection, types of asset protection, common asset protection strategies, legal framework, federal and state exemptions, talk about trusts and LLCs, similarly, asset protection in retail. So if you have a business in like retail and people shoplifting or people thieving, so let me say if you got business and employee theft is a problem. Internal theft can be a significant issue. Retailers implement strict inventory controls, employee background checks, and regular audits to mitigate this risk, according to the National Retail Federation. Employee theft accounts for about 33% of retail shrinkage. So meaning, imagine you got your business, 33% of your things, your own people thieving. Can't have that. So you got to protect yourself. Asset protection in banking. So they got fraud prevention. They got cyber security. So yeah, they give you asset protection in different sectors, and they even give you some famous asset protection cases, so you could get an idea of how people really handle it, like real life cases. So another great article. And then yeah, the Nerd Wallet one, asset protection, how it works and strategies. Yes, good. So I mainly bring this one up because this one talk about something that none of the others talk about. So I can just read this sentence here, but the last sentence in this paragraph. So asset protection strategies can include trust, limited liability corporations, LLCs, umbrella insurance, and prenuptial agreements. So for those who are not familiar, a prenuptial agreement, most people know it as a prenup. A prenup, short for prenuptial agreement, is a legal contract that two people create before they get married. Prenups list each person's property and outline their rights during the marriage and after it ends, whether by divorce or by death. So basically, a prenup is a legal contract that you and your wife, you and your husband, whatever type of situation you're in, you decide, you know what, okay, before we get married, I have my assets, you have your assets, or maybe only I have assets, however you go. But we're going to sign this legal document that says, okay, this is the assets that each of us have before going in, and in the event that we decide we're going to divorce, we are going to, let me say, this is how it's going to work after we divorce or if one of us die. Good. So let me say, me, Oliver, I come into this marriage with a house I living in, and I got an apartment building, I got a business I running that, doing good. And then let me say my wife come in, she got maybe 2 properties, 2 different places, and she ain't got no business, but she doing good in her company, she making good money. All of these things is things that you could put into the prenup, because you could even safeguard your career. So let me say if you got a career, like let me say certain movie stars or different people that they have a career, maybe a lawyer or doctor or whatever. They check in name, want people come and just take the assets from them. They would have prenups to safeguard their assets, because let's be honest, divorce come and you could lose half, you could lose more than half, you could lose everything. You imagine me, Oliver, I work hard, I build up my house, blood, sweat, and tears. I walk outside in hot sun, like I think it's Drake. I was going to say Rick Ross, but I think it's Drake say, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym? Yeah, straight up. It's like Michael Jordan. You practice, you practice, you practice. And you make it, you make a name for yourself. And then after you reach up to stardom, then somebody gonna come waltz in, and then because you two divorced, they gonna with everything. No, that's not fair. Not fair. So yeah, prenup is a way to safeguard things as well. You see, look, Casey, prenups are not ironclad. They can be debated. Check. So you see, someone in the comments say it can even be debated. So imagine that even the prenup is still not really fully 100, but at least it's an added level of safety. So yeah, prenups have a reputation for helping wealthy people protect their assets, but they can also protect one spouse from another's debt. Set up spousal support for a stay-at-home spouse and protect an inheritance for children from previous marriages. Check. So understand the added benefits it come with. So maybe like it say, could also protect you from a spouse who have high debt. So maybe you coming into your marriage and maybe your wife got a lot of debt, and you know what they say, when you married, it's one entity. So taxman, the debtors, well, the creditors, sorry, they don't care whether you and she or he and you. They checking why you get married now. Okay, he making money. Okay, cool. On that. So all of these things could safeguard you in that way too. So certain people, they have like negative connotations towards prenups, but honestly, it is a safeguard and it is a way to ensure longevity and protection of your financial assets, you know. So, like it says, a prenup can be an important first step for a couple's estate plan. States have different laws, blah, 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 so it can help if you consult your attorney and ensure your prenup is legally valid. If you don't have a prenup, your state's law or community property determines property ownership during marriage and in event of divorce. So basically saying if you don't have a prenup, the court's going to decide how everything will go. And let's be honest, most times we doesn't like the decision. So yeah. Anyways, so I just wanted to show that that's one thing I really wanted to stress on because yeah, some people might think like yeah, it's lawsuit or maybe like I said, natural disaster come mash up your place and now you don't know what you're gonna do to fix it. But you have a lot of things you gotta protect your finances and assets from. A lot of different things, and they have a lot of different ways to do that. You know, so it's about knowing your situation, knowing what you have, what assets you have, how you want to protect them, and then starting the process. So yeah, educating yourself on what you want to do, the route you want to take, and then my recommendation, I would tell you, look for an attorney. They got attorneys and lawyers that deal with these things on a regular basis, whether estate planning lawyers or trust and protection lawyers. They have these people all over, whether in the US, whether here in St. Maarten, trust and believe you can find it all over, Caribbean, all over. Check. Yeah, good stuff as per usual. Yeah, ain't even gonna read no more. This is all good stuff. Like I say, all I read is this. Like I say, prenuptial agreements to protect your assets before getting married. Consider drafting a prenuptial agreement. This legal document can protect your assets in case of divorce. Protect an inheritance for children from previous marriages. So let me say maybe you was married, you get divorced, and now you get another family, and now you get another set of assets, another, set of children. And let me say, God forbid you pass. Now, your previous wife checking, yeah, she children, which yeah, she children of course have some type of shares in it because that's your children too. But yeah, basically protecting your children's inheritance from previous marriages. So old wives them from before that you done divorce or husband, whichever situation that now after you pass they check it like yeah, piece of that's mine. All these things is protection from all those things. Anyways, like I talked about Schwab last time, Schwab is a great platforms organization or company that has follow a lot. Like I said, has follow the live YouTube uh, financial coverages and news and thing, and they have a lot of good things they do. But yeah, Schwab One Trust account. If you want, you could go to Schwab and open a trust account. And the main reason why I show this is because I just want to show you like zero fees, no monthly service fees, no account opening minimum, no commission, and whatever listed stocks and ETFs you get, moving down, account pricing, none, zero. Check if you got questions about opening one. So this mainly for my people in the US and let me say not in the Caribbean. But for my people in the Caribbean, I got something for you too. So let me say my people here in St. Maarten, what I want to show you is asset protection in St. Maarten. I actually had some that had come up too about like Nevis and a couple different places, but yeah. Anyways, Baker Tilly St. Maarten, I am familiar with that company. For you, yeah. What I'll say is, if you're in St. Maarten, I recommend BZSE attorneys. So that's Snow and them. I'll big up my dog Snow and thing. I don't know. Well, the young one. But anyway, yeah. Professional, proper attorneys at law. Been doing this thing long time and all these things that is deal with setting up trust, setting up, like basically protecting your finances. There's financial and tax lawyers, not just that, but yeah, they deal with estate planning, all these different things. So, matter of fact, since I'm talking about them, at least, yeah, did not have any intentions to bring them up here. But yeah, since I talk about them, yeah, the people them easy as see. So yeah, if you want, you could go on the website, BCSE Law, check out the different lawyers, check out the services, all of that good stuff. But yeah, what I really want to show you is this from Bright Path Caribbean Private Fund Foundation. So what it is and why you should consider it. So I can open up now, but like I say, they have a lot of options for asset protection, especially here in the Caribbean. Honestly, in my research, is a vibes like, okay, we is the safe haven. If people in other places have assets that they want to safeguard, they come into we, like places like Canary, not Canary Islands, Cayman, sorry, and Barbados, and like I said, Nevis. They had an article saying Nevis is like one of the best places. Which big up Nevis, my grandfather from there. You don't know, one time, two time, but yeah, they say Nevis is one of the best or most popular places for asset protection. But yeah, long story short, we have it here too in St. Maarten, right here. If you're here in St. Maarten, you got some assets you're checking, you want to protect them, you can. And this is one of the options. You see, you could get a free Zoom consultation with them. Good. Bright Path Caribbean. What is a private fund foundation and why you should consider it as an option to protect your assets? So yeah, they have a lot of good information about their company. I ain't gonna go into all of that. Every day a good number of real estate transactions happen in St. Maarten. And do you know what most big investments have in common? A private fund foundation protecting the assets. So keep that in mind. Remember what it's there. I show my people in St. Maarten, we could all agree, we just see a lot of construction going on. A lot of real estate transactions is happening in St. Maarten for sure. We could agree with that, right? We could attest to that. We just see things building up always, all over the place, things building up. Whether over the hill, whether on this side of the hill, wherever, all over St. Maarten, things building. So I'm sure we could agree this is factual. A good number of real estate transactions happen in St. Maarten. And every day, good. every day. But I show most of us did not know, like it says, do you know what most of these big investments have in common? A private fund foundation protecting the assets. Good. Sure, most of us did not know that. Sure, most of us maybe just checking like, okay, this is a group of companies or maybe a group of investors that made an entity that we say maybe a company that they using to buy property and develop, sell, all kind of different things. But did you know? If you knew, if you here watching and you knew that people using PFFs, private fund foundations, to protect their assets, to continue doing the real estate developments and have the real estate transactions. If you knew that, please leave it in the chat. Good. Now I'll tell you what it is. A private fund foundation, PFF, known in Dutch as Stichting Particulier Funds, is a legal entity protecting assets, investments, or funds with the assistance and experience of the team of professionals. Yeah, of course, they gotta let you know. Foreigners can create and fully participate in a PFF without the required participation of external members of any external members or shareholders. Private fund foundations can make distributions to the incorporators and others without having a social or charitable purpose. Beneficiaries, if named, can have general or limited rights. When discussing the intent and purposes that you wish to accomplish in the formation of your PFF, rely on the expertise. A bright path and schedule a free consultation. You know, they gotta let you know. But the thing is, they give good information of what it is and knowledge about it. But of course, they gotta big up themselves one time in between. Of course, I ain't get them wrong. So yeah, say they can support you and offer you the monthly and annual services required to maintain the compliance of your PFF with the local tax authorities. A PFF, private fund foundation, can own real estate. However, actively buying and selling real estate may be considered a business or enterprise. Collecting rent from tenants in owned real estate is not a business or an enterprise. If you are considering purchasing real estate in St. Maarten, a representative can work with you, with one of our real estate agents, to synchronize the establishment of your PFF before submitting an offer to purchase. So basically what I'm saying is they recommend that if you want to buy a property, it's best that before you even buy the property, that you establish your PFF first and then buy the property. This is important to consider, especially when you want to ensure that your real estate purchase, offer, and the establishment of your PFF are contingent upon each other. Short-term rental is subject to a 5% turnover tax. Rental for permanent residents is exempt from TOT. Good. So that basically saying like when you got long-term contracts, they exempt from TOT, but if it's short-term like Airbnb or one day or weekly stays and everything, you gotta pay turnover tax. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is, in a nutshell, if you actively buying and selling real estate, so some people, they like to flip property. They rather buy a property, maybe fix it up, or maybe don't fix it up, just leave it sit for a while and then sell it for a higher value. I talk about that in my real estate episode. So some people the Zuda, and if you are one of those people, that would be more of a business or enterprise. So what it's saying here is not really the best thing to put under your private fund foundation. What it's saying is rent from tenants and things like that is not a business or enterprise activities. So that can fall under private fund foundation. You check? So bottom line saying, if you got apartments with people renting and thing, then you could put it under the private fund foundation. But if you have properties that you're doing like Airbnb and those type of things, or like is a hotel or motel or like inn and those type of things, it's not recommended to put it under the private fund foundation. Good. And then like I say, tell you about the tax exemptions and tax rates and those things. Yeah. So private fund foundations are exempt from profit taxes, corporate and income taxes. This exemption rests upon one condition: the PFF does not operate a business or an entity for profit. However, the law states that investment activities and acting as a holding company do not qualify as a business or an enterprise. One-time or periodical distributions by a PFF to a resident of Maarten are subject to personal income taxes. However, non-resident beneficiaries are not liable to income tax. That's not fair at Maarten if they receive distributions from the PFF. That's not fair. Please note that this income might be subject to income tax in the country of residence. Well, yeah, okay, understand. So they're saying, like, let me say, if you from the US, you gonna get tax in St. Martin, and so meaning distributions is like how we talk about dividends. So all of that is like distributions you getting payout from this entity. And yeah, so it's saying like distributions, if you're from St. Martin, you might have to pay taxes. But if you are not from St. Martin, you won't have to pay taxes, but you probably will have to pay taxes on it back where you're from. So one thing I could say, for what I understand, last time I did some research on it, I think even people from the US, if they come to St. Martin, I think once they still file any taxes and thing up there, they still would have to like divulge everything. Anyways, benefits. Yeah, it's important to point out that you can own real estate in your name and a PFF is not required, especially when considering there are upfront fees involved. Therefore, establishing the benefits of a PFF is essential before deciding to create one with this company that have this article. When owning property in your name outside of a PFF, income from real estate may be taxed at progressive rates of up to 47.5% for persons who intend to purchase real estate for vacation or investment purposes. This alone may be a key deciding factor. So keep that in mind. And I ain't gonna lie, I know this good. So they're telling you when you own property in St. Martin in your name, so when it ain't in a business or some type of entity to protect it, you're gonna be taxed almost 50%, rightfully. In some cases, it'll go up to almost 60%, maybe even over 60% on your income. So imagine you got an apartment property, your tenant's paying you every month, your property is in your name, you getting taxed like half for that money. So if you're getting, let me say you're getting 2,000 for the month from everybody. So that's like 48,000 for the year, right? No, 24, sorry, 24. Sorry, I want to double it. Wait. So yeah, you're getting 2,000 a month. So that's 24 for the year. At 47%, the tax man he taking almost 12,000 from you. Just for quick maths. Check. So just to break it down for you, if you're getting 2,000 a month, he taking almost 1,000 from you. So almost half of that. Good. You checking. Wow, you making money? You're making money there? Okay. Tax man checking like, okay, that was going on. You making money? He'll come and this way he'll tell you. Yeah, hit it to you. And then he'll come. Okay, why are you making money? You got money for me, man? Yeah, not me though. Protect the assets because why? We work hard. Why should all of our hard-earned money, you work hard, you sweat to build up this thing, you go mixing concrete and mixing cement and placing blocks and plastering and plumbing and pinning in windows and putting in cabinets and sink and all type of good stuff. Finally, you get somebody to start to pay you back for all the hard work you put in. For taxman to just come and say, yeah, bye. You do a good job. Now pay me half. Now, so at least if you set up yourself with these asset protecting avenues, okay, yeah, you probably have to pay a little something somewhere, but thing will be half. Thing will be more than half. Thing is check. Anyway, like I said, think on it this way. If taxman come to you and he telling you owe he 45,000, let me say dollars, and you could go to a lawyer and get the lawyer fight the case for you, and the lawyer may be paying, you got to pay the lawyer maybe 5,000. That's a great give and take. That's a great transaction. I feel that's a fair trade, in my opinion, because now you saving yourself like 40,000. Yeah, you gotta spend money. You gotta spend money to make money. A lot of people look at things like, "Bye, if I do that, I gotta do so much. I gotta pay so much." But you ain't studying the money you're gonna have to pay if you don't do it. Like, man, I can't remember exactly the wording, but recently I was listening to a podcast and they say like people normally just tell you the cost of if you do something, but they don't consider or take into account the cost of if you don't do something. You check? In a lot of cases, in a lot of situations, you going to be in a worse off situation if you don't do something as opposed to if you do. You check? So it's best you take up your mantle and you take up your sword and your shield and you stand with courage and say, yeah, I gonna go out and protect my thing. And God gonna go out with you. And he gonna direct you down the right path. But if you just lay down and say, oh yeah, by God, Jesus take the wheel, or just lay down and say, yeah, God gonna handle it, you have to do your part. Like I say all the time, God is in the midst of all things and he does never forsake us. But we have to do our part, even if it's 1%, even if it's 0.01%. We have to do our 0.01%, and he going to do the rest 99.99%. 99. Correct. Good. Had to make sure my math it. But yeah, you see, look right at you. This tax thing is a rip-off. Straight. I agree with that sentiment. You check. Like, in life, they're gonna have vulnerable people in your community always. They're gonna have people who unable to go out and do it themselves, unable to go out and walk or make things happen. Let me say maybe sick or children and women and all these things. And you can't even say women nowadays because they can take that disrespect, because women checking they're capable nowadays too, and I respect it. So yeah, but I understand giving back to the community, and in a sense, like I guess that's where taxes started, because it's like, okay, we pool in money so we could help the people who can't do for themselves. But yeah, nowadays it's just a rip-off. It's just like a money racket. It's just, okay, well, you gonna pay we just for paying we sake, just because you gotta pay we, just because. Anyways, yeah, this article has a lot more good information, about, yeah, like I say, benefits, other good benefits. If you want to start one, frequently ask questions about the PFF, like I say, Private Fund Foundation. So yeah, like I say, all these articles, all these good stuff is going to be found in, oh, it doesn't say why you don't open up what it's supposed to. In the description section on YouTube. Yeah. See, we say again, it's easy cash to take in. The government must be more creative to bring cash into SXM, but don't kill we people by tax. So I like that sentiment. Why? Even when I was running, I had the sentiment which I say on multiple occasions. I'll be honest, most governmental authorities or entities have things wrong, in my opinion. When they want to introduce a new project or when something is necessary, the first thing they think to do is tax. Okay, we're gonna increase this tax, or something with tax. We're gonna implement this new tax, this new setup, this setup people gonna get taxed for this or something with tax always. But I have the mentality, instead of just taxing your people who done struggling, who done fighting to pay the taxes, they don't have on their plate. Why not, like you say, find additional streams of income for government, like on a larger scale, not just, okay, yeah, me as a businessman, I can start a business and create new revenue stream for me and the people around me, but on a larger scale, like I say, on a island wide scale, on a country level. Let me put it like that. Like, that's why I always advocating for agriculture. That's why I was promoting agriculture. I was in the garden up to today. I was by my partner farm. Up to yesterday, I plant something here by me. I always agriculture, because what, you gotta eat. And how I see it, as a good additional economy, a good revenue generator, because what, everybody gotta eat. If you could set up yourself that now you could maximize and capitalize off of that, it's good. On top of that, agrotourism, I just sing that all the time. So much tourists, I could tell you, so much tourists, they want more natural experiences. They want something different. They want to get like a experience of, like, maybe a farm tour, or a tour of some type of business operation that different, like see like cane rum being made, or that we say indigo, how did I make indigo coloring, or just like a farm to table experience, see like lettuce and different things being harvested and then clean and then cooked for you. People, all these things is money, bottom line. Additionally, I just say he and say Maarten, they just do so much to restrict we say Martinons from investing in like the stock market and the financial markets. But I feel they should stop that and actually as an island should start investing in different investments. Like imagine St. Martin as entity, like St. Martin government decide, okay, I'm going to invest in some dividend paying ETF. Let me say like maybe QQQ or the S&P 500 or something. For me, I rather dividend payers, but something that your money going to increase. You check. Let me say you take 100,000, you put into something paying dividends every month. Now, that 100,000 is going to give you a good return, even if it's 10,000 a month. That's good money. That's money you could do something with. 5 months you got 50,000. 10 months you got 100,000 right there on your head. You could do things. You check. But nobody don't have no vision. Nobody don't see like, okay, why we don't implement this. Even a good example, I do a presentation on recycling opportunities for St. Martin. So, on St. Martin, we'll talk about, waste management a lot because the dump is a big problem. And do you know our dump that's a big eyesore that's just trash and garbage that they could make money for us too? But what? With no vision. Where there is no vision, the people perish. The Bible tell you. You check? So I do, like I say, presentation talking about at least 5 different opportunities in waste management. I talk about paper waste. So let me say burning cardboard, newspaper, paper, anything from paper waste. Good. And that's a lot of things. Good. I talk about plastic, which I don't know if they got a partner all over the internet right now. He making gasoline and diesel out of plastic. Matter of fact, maybe I should try to get here on the podcast one of these good days. Work on that. Anyways, plastic. I talk about how all of these things is recyclable and lucrative. Not just, you can recycle it, but you can get money from recycling it. Good. So like I say, paper waste, plastic, glass bottles. How much rum does drink on St. Martin? How much beers are drink on St. Martin? Just going on a landfill. In St. Lucia, the government purchased a glass crushing machine and incentivized this for their community. They paying the community maybe cents a bottle for bringing the bottles. So imagine, envision this. You somebody, you just drink your Heineken, your Corona, your Coronitas, your whatever, your Rude Boys, whatever it be. And let me say you're living in St. Lucia, because they ain't got that here in St. Martin yet. Let me say yet, good. So you living in St. Lucia, you sit down with your boys, or you drink a 6-pack, or you drink a case, you could go to this glass recycling station, bring your glass bottles in there and pay you, whether maybe 10 cents, 25 cents. I don't know how much, but some type of money for your glass bottle. Why would they do that? Why would they pay you for your glass bottle? Because they're making money off of these things after they crush it. They're making money with the because it's sand. Keep in mind, glass bottles, glass anything, it's come from blown sand. So once they crush it, guess what you go back to? Sand. Countries paying for glass sand to restore the beaches, to make other glass products, all kind of things. We got things wasting of value straight up. Good. So that's three. Rubber in Africa, they taking old car tires, which here right now we got mountain of old car tires. In Africa, they taking old car tires, pulling out the metal, so you know it have like steel in the car tire. They pulling out that and then melting the rubber, adding maybe like a little epoxy so it could bind, and they making road. Imagine instead of using asphalt or cement to make a road, they're making road out of rubber car tire. They're making playground for children. They're making bricks out of car tire. They even have countries using sewage, your toilet waste. So when you go and you pee and you do number two, they got countries that taking this sewage. I ain't gonna lie, we have a sewage treatment plant here. Good. But they have countries that using that for electricity. They got so much opportunity, but if you don't know, you don't know. Check. Like they say, ignorance is bliss. You check? So like I said, talk about a lot of opportunity, got a lot of opportunity here. See, look, we tell you, Holland doing this. All the glass bottles, they pay about 20 cents a bottle. So even in Holland, which we part of the kingdom, you could go, they pay you 20 cents per bottle. That's money there. You go with 10 bottles, okay, that's $2. 100 bottles, that's 20. Things add up. By the time you check stock, you got $100 off of just glass bottles. I could tell you, when I was in the States, I was saving my coins, like pennies and things. Not the first time I really started saving pennies and so on. And after it accumulate and I go to the bank, I'd be surprised how much $100 and things just off of 5 cents, 10 cents, 1 cent, couple quarts in between, like compounding. When you really serious about something and stay consistent, just like me doing this podcast. This is me just dropping the bucket every time, every week, throwing another drip. Just now we're gonna be full till the cup overflow. Check. So yeah, I see a lot to say. All I was to wrap up now, just so you know, because we done over 9 already. But yeah, I see a lot to say. Like I say, change is inevitable. You have to be open to change, open to growth. Because what? If you want to elevate, if you want to grow your wealth, grow yourself, you have to be open to change. And all this here that I just share is change. This is new things, new avenues that you tread in, a new road that you never walked before. Or maybe you hear it or you glimpse it, or maybe you walk it already. But now it's like, okay, I diligent about it. I am intentional about it. And when I say I don't mean me, I mean you. Yeah, just saying. Check. So yeah, that's what you gotta tell yourself. I am now diligent about it. I am now intentional about it. I intend to better my financial situation, increase my financial literacy, and protect my assets. So yeah, like I say, another good episode, episode 20, where we talk about securing what you built. All these previous episodes, we talk about, investing, whether it's trading, whether it's stocks, dividends, whether you want to do real estate, whatever it is, start, start building that wealth, building that value, and now protect it. See, we say, and when we send our youth to go study, let them study things that can make things that can make things, not just sugar, honey, ice, things that can help us develop, which I feel you and myself, I feel yourself, Like you said, I had a conversation with somebody that said that they feel that the study financing list of majors should be changing over time, like every few years, it should change with the, because things change, like now they should be probably sending people to do more AI things and things because that's where the world is going right now. But I just use as an example to say like, can't keep living in the past. We gotta be at the forefront, be ready for the future, be ready for whatever is to come. So that's why we protecting our assets, we securing asset protection, we planning for the future. You check when you use your cabeza, you secure everything good, everything gonna be good. You could sleep good, peace of mind down the line, knowing everything is good for you and yours. So with that, I just want to say once again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can't say it enough. Like I say, today is a special night, a special one. 20. I remember when I reached 10. I feel good. Check it. Wow, we hit double digits. We double on that. Yeah. When we reach 100, then I'm gonna be like, yeah. No, I gotta have a celebration for 100. Got to, 100 subscribers maybe. No, when I reach 1,000 subscribers, do something. But yeah, though, like I say, thank you. Like I say, I want to take this moment to thank every single one of you who's been rocking with me from the start. I appreciate it. This has been a journey about growth, learning, and uncovering it all together. And trust and believe more goodness to come, more great content to come, more knowledge sharing, more just upness, upliftment, up life, liberty. Yeah, straight up, straight up, straight up. So, I don't know. I love you. Thanks again. I wish you positive and blessed week ahead. And yeah, like I say, if you like this, if this is something that you or somebody you know need to hear, share it. If you know this is something good that somebody else should hear, share it to them, share it on your page, tell a friend, shout it at the top of the mountain. Yeah, all over it podcast to increase your knowledge. Yeah. Like I say, financial literacy series. Today was another installment on asset protection. All over it podcast episode 20. Protecting your assets, securing what you've built. So, once again, I thank you. We are on a mission to get this YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers. Like, subscribe, comment all that good YouTube stuff. Yeah, all of that good social media stuff. All of it. Do it. No force, no, but yeah, if it's good for you, I think it'll be good for somebody else too. You check it? But yeah, I have a blessed night onwards and a blessed week ahead. And yeah, have a blessed one later.